What's going on, guys? So before I jump into the video, I want to first explain what this video's purpose is and what you can expect out of it. So basically, I know a lot of people don't start working out and have trouble being consistent because they really don't know what to do in the gym. They don't know how to use equipment and they don't know exactly what they should be doing, and they don't want to hire a personal trainer. So my goal in this video is to explain all the gym equipment that you really need to know. I'm going to try to give you all the information you need to do a really effective workout. I actually wrote out a workout program, so you'll have a program that you can take and you'll know how to do the exercises on the program. And yeah, it's gonna give you a really good starting point. You'll wanna keep learning things, and I might not answer every one of your questions in this video, but it will certainly give you a very good point to start at, and a workout that I can pretty much guarantee you, if you follow the workout, you will build muscle. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to see on the program is incline cardio or stair step. Both of these are going to be really great exercises to do. And the reason that I'm not having you just run on the treadmill is I know that some of the people watching this might not be able to run, first of all. And second of all, doing a stair step machine or an incline treadmill is going to recruit more muscles than just jogging, generally speaking. So it's a great exercise, and it's an easy way to get in your target heart rate range. You'll see on the program it says 30 minutes and then parentheses 130 to 140 beats per minute. On the treadmill, you're going to see little silver pads that you can put your hands on, and they're going to tell you your heart rate. So yeah, just pay attention to your heart rate. Try to keep it in that range of 130 to 140. That's generally considered the best range to burn fat while not burning muscle. And 30 minutes is a good target for cardio. You don't want to do too much cardio, but you could do it 2 to 3 times a week. I think on the program I only have it as once because this is sort of an introductory kind of workout program. So if you're a beginner, you don't need to do that much. And if you try to do too much, it'll probably slow you down and keep you from really sticking with it and being consistent when it comes to working out. So start a little slower. 1 day a week is perfectly fine. Okay, real quick, this is the stair stepper. You've probably heard of it. There's not much to explain here. I just wanted to give you a visual for what it looks like in case you aren't familiar with it. Right here, I am demonstrating squats. And as you can see, there are these adjustable bars that come out perpendicular with the squat rack. And the purpose of those is to catch the weight if you cannot lift it. So if you're doing a set and it becomes too heavy and you cannot stand up, you can just kind of sit down, relax, and put the bar on those safety racks and you're fine. And you should not be embarrassed if that happens. That's going to happen when you're doing squats a lot, especially if you're really pushing yourself. So don't be embarrassed if you go to do a set and you can't lift the bar on one of the reps. Right here, I'm showing you a couple different types of clips that you can use on the bar. The purpose of these is to keep the weights from sliding off the ends. You are definitely going to want to use these when you're doing squats, because just leaning at all could make the weight slide off very easily. Something you should know about this exercise is it is probably, not even probably, it is the best exercise that you can do for your legs, but it's also very difficult because it's a complex movement. There's a lot of things that you need to know and you need to be doing right for them to work properly and for it to feel okay for you. And the other thing I should mention is, because you have the weight resting on your back, when you start out, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but you will get used to it. So don't be discouraged if the first couple times you do squats, it bothers your back some. That's normal, and you will get used to it. Just push through that, and you'll definitely be glad that you did. You can see right here, I'm putting this little foam pad on the bar. That will make it more comfortable, and most gyms do have that little accessory. So if you want to use that, definitely go for it. And make sure you're flexing your upper back. Kind of feel like you're pulling your shoulder blades together. And when you flex your shoulders like that, it'll give the bar a better platform to sit on, and that will also make it more comfortable. Now, the last thing I'll explain about squats, and this is obviously the most important thing, is your form. When you're coming down, you want to come down till you're parallel with the ground. And what that means is, I want you to picture there is a dot in the center of your knee and a dot in the center of your hip, creating a straight line. That straight line should be parallel with the ground. At that point, you have gone deep enough into the squat and you've done a proper rep. So at that point, you just stand up. And that's how far down you should be going. The next thing I'll note is, especially if you have tight legs, you'll see a lot of people when they come down, they're not flexible enough to get that deep. And what happens is their back starts leaning forward. When you do that, you put excess stress on your lower back, and that can cause injuries. So Right here, you see me pulling out these little pads to put under my heels. When you do that, it makes it so that you require less flexibility to go down to proper depth. And that can really help you out if you just aren't flexible enough. So if you find that you start leaning forward at the bottom of the rep, then put something under your heels like that. You can use small weights or pads or anything that gets it a 1/2 inch to 1 inch off the ground, your heel that is. So definitely give that a try if you're too tight to use proper form. Okay, up next we have hip abductors. And what this is going to do is it's actually going to exercise your glutes, and it is a pretty good way to isolate them. So definitely start out with squats because you want to start out with your compound movements, which means when I say compound movements, I'm talking about an exercise that recruits multiple muscle groups and is not as isolated as what you're seeing right here. This exercise will isolate pretty much just your glutes. So it's very straightforward. There's not much to explain about this. Couple things, notice anywhere that has a color on it on a machine is generally a point of adjustment, whether you're adjusting the weight or the starting point. So some of these machines are multi-use, so you can just sort of swivel those things around. You go from a hip abductor to a hip adductor, which is going to work different muscles, as you'll see in a second. And like I said, there's not much to explain. Just make sure when you're doing these, you keep a relatively slow pace like you see me doing right here, and try to keep tension on the muscle as much as you can. So just nice slow reps, and you'll see on the program, it'll tell you about how many reps you should be doing. Now next you see me swiveling those little things around, and that switches the exercise to being a hip adductor, which is going to work your hip flexor muscles, a small muscle on the inside of your thigh. Both of these are really good exercises to be doing, and they're pretty simple. Most gyms have this piece of equipment, which is why I have included it in the program. And just one more quick thing I want to show you about this machine, and this applies to most machines. If you look at the top of the stack right here where I'm showing you, there's a little pin. You grab that, you pull it out, lower it, and that is an extra weight that gives you in-between weight. Now, you'll also notice on the program, I put accessory as the last set on each of your workouts. And the reason I did that is because I want you to learn more about the equipment in your gym and different exercises. So you can be looking around at other people in the gym or online, but try to get ideas for new exercises you want to try, experiment, and see what you want to do. So it just kind of leaves you some room to add different things that you would like to work on. And I'm gonna try to give you guys a couple ideas for accessory exercises you can do. So right here, I'll give you a great example. This exercise targets your hamstrings, which is the large muscle on the back of your legs. So if you want to get good hamstrings and also kind of hit your glutes pretty well too, this exercise is called RDLs. So what you're gonna do is get something to put the front of your feet up on. So the front of your feet should be raised. You can use a barbell or dumbbells as you see me using here, and you just simply do a deadlift. You're gonna bend down and stand back up with it. Just be sure to keep your back flat, or at least as flat as you can. And yeah, don't bend your back or arch your back, and you're good. That's the exercise. Okay, so this is bench press. This is also a compound movement, so it is relatively difficult to do. So make sure you really pay attention to this, and if you feel like I don't explain it well enough, then definitely look up other videos that explain the form well. Okay, so you're just simply gonna warm up with a light weight and move up to what you're actually gonna work out with. But you do wanna start with a light weight to get your body and your shoulders warmed up. You're gonna have a grip about as wide as you can see mine here. Basically what you want is your wrists to be as wide as your shoulders. So the inside of your hand should be about in line with the outside of your shoulder when the bar is on the rack. The next thing you should pay attention to is you want your butt touching the bench, your shoulders touching the bench, and your back sort of arched a little bit and keep it tight. In addition, you also want to take your shoulder blades and pretend like there's someone with their finger between your shoulder blades. You're trying to squeeze their finger with your shoulder blades. And what that's gonna do is pull your shoulders back, and it's gonna keep those muscles tight and secure, and that will keep you from getting any sort of shoulder pain when you're doing the exercise. Okay, and after bench on the program, I have dumbbell military press. So what you're gonna do is get a bench. You want the bench slightly declined, as you can see in this video, and it helps to put the weights on your knees like you see me do. Pop them up with your knees. It's a good way to just get the weight up, and you wanna really flex your back. You're gonna arch it just a little bit and kind of play around with your form. Start with a light weight and figure out how to do it in a way that's most comfortable for your shoulders. Because the one complaint I see with people on this exercise is it can bother your shoulders if you're not using good form. So kind of play with it with lightweight before you really go into heavier weights for your exercise. After that, we have dumbbell arm raises. So just grab a set of dumbbells that you can do this with and pay really close attention to the angle of my arms. You want your arms just bent a little bit and you want your wrists flat with the ground. If you rotate your wrist wrong, it's not going to target your deltoids the way that you're trying to with this exercise. So watch closely on the form, and this is really all there is to it. You're going to lift it up about shoulder height. If you're going to go above shoulder height, just go a little bit above it, but not too high. And yeah, that's dumbbell arm raises. After that, we have tricep extensions, and there is a lot of different ways to do this. You can use ropes, as you see me using here, or you can use a bunch of different accessory bars that your gym probably has. So ropes are a great way to do it. You can target more of your tricep. There are 3 main muscle groups in your tricep, and doing rope extensions like this kind of hits them all pretty well. So at the bottom of each rep, you'll notice I come down and I kind of flare my wrists out at the bottom. That's going to help you target more of your tricep. And as you might have noticed, I just changed position on that exercise. You can do it facing towards the cables or away from it. Just figure out whichever one you feel most comfortable with. When you face away from it with my back to it, you'll notice it's a little bit easier to keep good form and constant tension on your muscle, which is something that's really important when it comes to building muscle. Okay, now we just have the last set on day 2 of the program. And again, it's just an accessory set. You can do 1 or more. You'll notice under the set, it says 1+. So you can do 1 set or just however many you want if you want to keep going. And I'll just give you one more example. This is just I guess a chest press. I'm not entirely sure what you call this piece of equipment, but it's going to exercise your chest. You're going to target your pecs really well with this, not as much your triceps like you would on bench press. It's a nice way to isolate it and really get a good pump on your chest. All right, starting out on day 4, you're going to do deadlifts as your first exercise. This is another compound movement, and compound movements really are the best exercises that you can do in the gym, but they are also the most difficult and the most strenuous. So they're most difficult in complexity, trying to learn the movement correctly, and like I said, they are also the most difficult. But don't let that discourage you. You really want to be doing these. Deadlifts are a great exercise, especially for your back. You're going to hit everything from your traps to your hamstrings on this exercise. Now pay close attention to my form in this. There is a lot of different ways to do deadlifts, but I'm going to show you kind of just the most standard. Notice how far apart my hands are. You want to keep your legs a little bit wider than shoulder width. Toes pointed out a little bit, and the most important thing about doing these is that you keep your back as straight as you can, and you want to use your legs as much as you can. A lot of people just naturally use their back. Their legs won't really change position throughout the exercise. So while you will be using your back quite a bit for this, you want to also make sure you're engaging your legs. Kind of dip your hips down and stand up with the bar. And after deadlifts, we have lat pull downs. This is pretty straightforward. I will mention there are a couple different accessories. And when I say accessories, I mean attachments that you can put onto the cable to do this exercise. The one I'm using in this video is the most common for the exercise. And you're simply going to get a wide grip, as you can see I have here. And when you pull the bar down, you want to kind of pull your shoulder blades and your shoulders together at the back and try to isolate your lat muscles. Bring the bar a little bit below your chin and keep a nice controlled pace throughout the exercise. And next up, we have what I just call reverse sit-ups. Most gyms do have this piece of equipment. As you can see, I'm adjusting it for my height. You'll definitely want to make sure that it's set for your height before you start the exercise. So mess around with that, make sure it's sitting right on your hips. And it is very easy to do. You're just gonna grab a weight, or you can start out without a weight, and it's just like a sit-up. You're gonna bend down and sit up. There's not really anything else to the exercise to explain. It's just a great way to target your lower back and have a stronger back, which is extremely important for a lot of reasons. Okay, next up on your program is shrugs. You can do this with either dumbbells, a barbell, or a Smith machine. I generally prefer to use a Smith machine, which is what I'm showing you right here. And all that is a barbell on tracks. I think it's easier to hold on to the bar if you don't have wrist straps. But anyway, very easy exercise to do. All you're gonna do is lift your shoulders up and then slowly lower them. And that is going to really target your traps well and help you build a good, strong back. And again, on day 4, you see accessory as the last set. So you can pick whatever accessory exercise you want to do to train your back. I did forget to videotape an accessory exercise for this one. So you can go ahead and look up different exercises. There's a million different back exercises you can do. So just find something that interests you and go for it. All right, starting day 4, we're gonna be targeting biceps and core. And the first exercise is seated dumbbell curls. Now you'll notice there are a million different ways to work out your biceps, but this is an exercise that really is all you need. If you're doing these, there's nothing else you need to be doing. Now that doesn't mean you can't do anything else, but this is the only bicep exercise I'm putting on the program, and it is very simple. Just find a bench, an adjustable bench, and preferably you're gonna have it declined a little bit. That's going to give you more range of motion with tension on the bicep. And make sure when you're doing these, you are lifting it relatively slowly and lowering the weight relatively slowly. That is going to give you maximum muscle growth. After doing curls, you're going to move on to suitcase crunches. This is an exercise that is going to do a really good job of hitting your abs, whether you are 40 pounds overweight and have never worked out, or if you are Mr. Olympia. This will still train your abs very well. And you don't need any equipment. So all you're gonna do is get a mat to lay down on, and you're going to keep your feet together, your knees a little bit wide, your hands behind your head, and you're going to come up into a crunch. You wanna try to lift your shoulders off the mat when you come to the top, and you don't have to touch your elbows on your knees, but get them close. And this is going to work all of your abs, from the lowest abs to the very top abs. And after that, you're going to have Roman twists on your program. That's going to also work your abs, but it's going to additionally hit your oblique muscles, which are those side torso muscles around your abs. You can use a weighted ball like I'm using in this, or a dumbbell, or really anything with a little bit of weight on it. And the only thing to note about this is keep your feet off the ground. The more you lean your upper body back, the harder it's going to make the exercise. So if you find it's too easy, just lean back a little bit more and that'll make it difficult. And try to actually rotate your upper body. Don't just move the weight back and forth, actually turn your whole torso to engage more of your obliques. Okay, and next up is planks. You are literally just going to sit in this position. If you find that you can do it for a long time, let's say more than a minute, and you find that frustrating because it is hard to hold that position for a long time, what you can do is try to feel like you're dragging your toes in and really flex your abs when you do the exercise. That's going to make you come to the point of failure much quicker. So instead of doing a 4-minute or 3-minute plank, you'll get the same amount of exercise in just 30 seconds to 45 seconds. The last exercise you're going to see is just accessory, so go ahead and pick whatever you would like to do. And like all the other workouts, whether it's for your biceps or your abs. All right, guys, I think I covered everything I wanted to in the video. Hopefully I explained everything well. If you have any questions, always feel free to leave those in the comments below and I will do my best to get back to you with an answer. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you found the video helpful, leaving a thumbs up would really help me out. I know only about 5% of people leave feedback, but if you would just take 1 second to hit that thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. It'll help promote the video so it can help more people out. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.